This evening, I have the pleasure of speaking with Ameera Madzimoyo, a proud wife and mama of four. Ameera is also a vegan chef, foodie, and homeschool mama. As a birth worker with over 10 years of experience, she has worked as an assistant, midwife, and doula. She wears many hats, but ultimately, she's a purpose driven woman on the road to self mastery. Ameera knows the world would be a better place if filled with strong, empowered women, and being an online fitness coach is her way of getting it one step closer. Her mission is to help restore the self love in postpartum women and all women, giving them the blueprint to regain body confidence through fitness. She has multiple fitness programs that dive into regaining core strength and getting to the best version of yourself postpartum. Her main focus is on reversing the stereotype that we need to shrink ourselves to take up less space to be beautiful, strong, and healthy. You can find her on social media daily or somewhere in the world hiking to remote waterfalls with a huge smile. To work with her, check out her website at www.thebrazengoddess.com. Ameera, welcome.
Yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today, Ameera. That intro, I always say intros don't do justice to just everything that you have going on. I love everything that it speaks to. If there's anything that I've left out, please feel free to fill it in and let the audience know who is Ameera.
Well, thank you so much. First of all, the intro, it had me hyped up. I was like, I was excited, yes. But that's what I do. That's who I am. I'm first a woman on the road to self-mastery and also a mama, wife. I'm doing many things, but ultimately in every path of my life, it's really about, self-mastery and also just being that person, that can show other people like we can do this. This is something that is in us. It's possible. Like, we start with our purpose and we keep moving forward. So that I'm excited about.
Yes, yes, yes. And like you said, it got me hyped too, just like everything that was going on. Reading it was like, yes, okay. So just getting into this, there's so many layers to you, with everything that you're doing. It's all connected though, but there's so many different things. So from the perspective of birth and motherhood, what were some of the messages growing up? Like, what were your ideas? Did you witness other women, through their pregnancy as a child? Like, what was your understanding coming into this?
It was very interesting because I had an extremely non-conventional upbringing, and my mother, she's a midwife. So all throughout my life, the way that I experienced birth, I think was very organic, very just raw. Like, this is birth. Like we literally, I remember being young and sitting on the couch at my house and reading Anime Gaskins' Guide to Childbirth, and just like really being kind of engulfed in the culture of birth. And that's one thing that I think with me becoming a mother, it was already like ingrained in me. It was already something that I felt like this is a natural part of life. So I really, I had my natural thoughts or maybe fears and things like that. But with that upbringing, I think there was just so much that I was given at an early age when it comes to the body and the beauty of the body and actual health and the rawness of birth and women's health and all of those different things, the good and the bad that come with it, and being able to just kind of put that together when it came to my life. So the things that I heard were, birth is natural. We've been giving birth since the beginning of time. I heard like birth is beautiful. It's literally, there's art in the body of the woman, and that there's so much that we manifest more than even just children. There's so much that we manifest through our bodies, and we have to treat them as such. So that's really like, those were the messages that I heard growing up. So I feel like I didn't really have like traditional, conventional upbringing, but these are the things that helped me to become who I am right now.
Wow.
And that really kind of shaped what I think about birth and the body and health and all these things. So I'm grateful for that.
That is amazing, and it's beautiful, and it really is part of the motivation of doing what it is that we're doing here, is having those conversations and normalizing it, because how different is your experience and how different is your understanding of your options coming into this, knowing this transformational process exists, and looking at birth as that, as opposed to it being something, oh, that's gonna be so painful, oh, wait till you start feeling contractions, like these consistent messages that we get about birth, as opposed to how magical it truly is. So that is amazing to have that foundation coming in. So how did that kind of, how did that impact you from a doula perspective? Did you start this work prior to becoming a mom?
Yes. So I assisted my mother for many, many years. And so I would come to births and I'll be, the person going to get things for the mother or rubbing the mother's back or, doing whatever, maybe cooking for the mother or her children or whatever it is. And so for me, I was in birth work for a long time. And I'm still in a level of birth work. And I feel like for the rest of my life, I'm sure I'll be in a level of birth work.
Yeah.
So definitely, I think, impacted the way that I look at just like being a doula and helping and assisting other women, because, this helps me to kind of convey that message, like, this is what we do. It's a very natural, organic thing. And the best thing that you can do is tap in,
Mm-hmm. Yes. Now that is amazing. And I think some of the even the terms that you use in the intro, that whole sense of empowerment, right? Like coming into that process, and that's part of, I find the value of having that support, of having a doula, of having, your birth team that supports what you're doing, is that sense of empowerment and how impactful that is in this transitional process of giving birth. So it seems like everything that you do is interconnected, from the birth work to even the fitness aspect of it. So how did that kind of tie together? How did you get into that wellness piece?
So I think that's kind of like an interesting thing too. So my mother, she's always in birth work and in women's health. And my father was always in fitness and overall wellness. So he was always like, he wasn't like a trainer or anything, but he was always, well, at one point he was, but he was always that person who would have us running back and forth. We would be doing laps. We would be doing, exercise and workouts. And, as a child, I really hated that. And so kind of getting older and mostly kind of like coming into being a teenager and coming into, my own like body image ideas and confidence and stuff like that, I was like, I really started to use fitness kind of as a catalyst for my own self-growth. And, I started to see changes in my body when I would do my own routines, and it really kind of empowered me to keep going. I was like, okay, well, I like this. I'm able to be clearer mentally. I'm able to make changes in my body that, are not like easy genetic changes. Like I'm able to change things. I'm able to, move the needle in my life in an area that I thought couldn't be controlled. So when I was able to kind of take the reins when it came to, my physical health, it helped me to take the reins when it came to like my spiritual, mental health. And like emotionally, I was like, okay, if I can make this change physically and I can, like become stronger in this way physically, from here to here, from A to B, in other areas of my life, I can implement the same strategy. I can implement the same consistency and discipline. And I can turn that into, growing a business, or I can turn that into a spiritual practice, or, whatever it is, I can use that same framework. I can replicate in other areas of my life.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, like I really started to see that, and that really like excited me. Mm-hmm. And other people started to kind of see that I was doing this consistently, and would ask me like, can you show me like what you do? And so that's kind of like how I came into training. Like I was very young. They're like, can you show me what you do? And so I would show them what I did, and they would like start to get results. And we would just start talking about how, you know, fitness as a holistic instrument, as a holistic tool. And that's really where it started. Like, you know, just being able to use it as a tool and, you know, help other people use it as a tool and see it in a different way. Because I think we're trained to kind of see it in one way where, you know, it's for men who lift weights and who do this and that. And we don't really see it as a personal effect or a personal instrument that we can use to do anything, to do anything, to go anywhere, you know?
Yes. So when you were explaining that word empowerment came back up, that ability to have the confidence and the motivation to incorporate that in all areas of your life, right? You've been able to be disciplined and consistent to change your body. Why can't I change my habits in other areas? Why can't I, you know, be disciplined to start this business? So yes, I love how all of that is so connected. So has your focus always been on women's bodies postpartum, or is that something that came later? Like, how did you begin to incorporate the birthing women and basically postpartum and kind of getting not even back to who you were before, because we can't get back to that person, right? We have changed from a holistic mind, body, spirit perspective. So to get to that being and to feel confident in the skin you're in, how did that come about?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. I would say probably the time where most changed for me was after I had my son. And I remember the first words that came out of my mouth was like, you know, I gave birth to him. He was born at home on my bed. And I just felt so strong. And I was like, I feel like I can run up the street. My mom was like, well, don't. And I remember afterwards, I was like so focused on, okay, well, this is what I used to do. And I know that since I was active before, I can do that again. And I tried to jump back into my routines. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do high intensity interval training. I had it all planned out, you know, to the day of like, okay, I'm going to be 4 weeks postpartum. I'm going to get right back into it. Let me tell you, I was like, this is not the same body. I was out of breath walking up the steps. I was like, you know, at first I was like, okay, like, you know, I lost the baby weight or whatever. And then like I started breastfeeding and I started to see like, oh, so people were lying when they said that breastfeeding makes all mamas lose weight. So, you know, I started to like see all of these different things and I was like, this is not the same. And the way that my body responds to different foods and responds to exercise is just not the same.
Right.
And it kind of changed the most for me when I was like, I went through an entire mainstream exercise program that I had just found on the internet and it was really popular. And I did it for 2 months. I didn't take any breaks. I did not like stray from it. I didn't do other exercise. Like I followed this program to the letter. And I remember like weighing myself at the end of this program and I didn't lose 1 pound. And I was like, this is very different. And so I was like, there has to be some type of, I have to come to some type of understanding about how to move that needle after having a baby because my body feels completely different. You know, I'm working full time. I'm doing all these different things. I'm doing my exercises. I'm breastfeeding. And for some reason, my body is just not the same. It's not responding in the same way. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get certified as a personal trainer. So I get certified as a personal trainer and I go for like the best of the best certifying institutions in, you know, the US as far as like on like a, you know, personal trainer or whatever that I could find. And I remember looking through the textbook and there was one paragraph of information about training prenatal women. And it was like, this cannot be real. And I'm looking through the glossary and I'm looking through the index and I'm looking at all of their resources in the back. And I'm just like, there's no more information like this. Just that was a turning point for me, like another turning point where I was like, okay, this has to change. And, you know, if I have to create a program from scratch, I'm going to do that. And so I finished with that certification and I like, you know, went through and became a master herbalist, learned more about multiple different things, really started to get into birth work. and just start to dig into the different ways that we have to address the body in a postpartum type of mindset or framework. So I started learning about how to regain core strength. You know, what is it that we're kind of missing in that time? What are some challenges when it comes to our pelvis and our pelvic floor? You know, what are some challenges when it comes to our posture and the way that we move and the function of our bodies? And so I literally had to like look through medical journals and scientific papers and just all of these different studies to learn and implement these things on myself. And then, you know, started working with other people as a trainer. Other mamas would reach out to me and I would like reach out to them like, hey, I want you to try this. And they start to like get results. And immediately I was like, okay, so I need to do more of this. And I hope you can still hear me because it looks like it's
No, you can. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So really, I think at that time I was like, I just need to like, I have to implement this because it's something that's definitely needed. And being in birth work, like practically my whole life, you know, I was like we need this. This is the time, especially in the 4th trimester and the time after we have a baby, this is when we especially need to feel strong, when we especially need to feel confident, when we especially need to feel empowered, you know? So that's essentially like kind of where that came from, is working with postpartum mamas. It's just knowing that there was a need, that it was a need for me. And I was like, if there's a need for me, there's a need for all these other women, and the rest just came together.
That is amazing. And that kind of makes me think of like when you're called to do something, when it's your purpose, like it comes to you and you put the pieces together. Because the fact that there was just a paragraph written, like that is insane. Wow. But to be able to create a program. So if you could just share with us kind of just an overview of this, all the services that you provide, and and also how to get in touch with you. I know the website speaks to kind of the groups that you have and some of the things going on.
Yes. So right now I'm working on the website, and also mainly you can find me on social media. You can find me in my Facebook communities. And so I have 2 right now. One of them is about fitness and fasting, because I use a lot of intermittent fasting just as another kind of means to get results, but also kind of improve mental clarity. So I have a Facebook community called the Fast Wins Fitness and Fasting community. So that's a dope place. If you are into intermittent fasting, if you want to learn more about it, that's a great place to start. And I do training there every week. So all of that's free. And there's so much information in there about intermittent fasting. Okay. And then recently I just opened the doors, if you can say that, to another Facebook community, which is for postpartum mamas. So it is Fit and Lit Postpartum Mamas. And it is cool. It's dope. You know, I'm going to be doing classes in there. I have one already in there. And I just add information. We just talk and have conversations about, you know, what does it mean for you? What's going on in your journey? You know, what are some things that are challenging you? And then we talk about some solutions. Like we really get into and dig into, you know, how do you get from A to B in a postpartum period, basically. So that's the other one, Fit and Lit Postpartum Mamas on Facebook. And then essentially I offer multiple different programs. So I do group coaching. Okay. I have a group coaching. It's called the Real Snapback. And it's it's a mind, body, spirit program where it really goes into just really dialing in on the habits that it takes to make changes when it comes to, you know, where you're at mentally after having a baby, you know, to make changes to your body and just kind of address those challenges. And that was cool. I really, really love doing that because just the culture of the group is awesome for me. It's super dope to see so many mamas like we'll come on and do our group coaching, and it's all online. So we'll come on the check-in day, and everybody like has their babies, and we're just talking about being a mother and, you know, what are some of the challenges that we're facing on a weekly basis and getting to taking care of ourselves and pouring back into ourselves. And so that one's cool. That one, I really, really love that. Yes.
It is so necessary.
Yes. And just having, I think, that accountability and that relatability where you see somebody else who is just like you, may have had a baby 8 months ago or a year ago, and has a lot of the same struggles, and that's really cool to be able to see and be like, okay, I'm not alone. And what's
Mhm.
cool is, there are other people out there who are going through the same thing, and we can go through that together. We can
Yes.
grow through that together,
Exactly.
So.
Yes, yes.
And also, I'm starting to do one-on-one.
Okay.
So I'm making a little time because I have some people who kind of fall in that category but fall a little bit outside of it. And so I'm
Mhm.
starting to do one-on-one coaching as well, again. And so that's cool. It's a whole new program that is just got put together like the beginning of, or at the end of last month. So I have a few spaces for that. That one is really cool. And I know that's going to fill up fast, but it's one-on-one, so it's completely customized. So that one is really dope. And
Excellent.
yeah, that's what I do. So I do some group coaching, I do some online coaching. It's all online. I do some one-on-one coaching, and have also those free communities where you can join and just get more information about what to do next. What's the next step?
No, that is amazing and so needed. Like that sense of that community piece and that having other moms with children in your age group with your children and to have that support, that is priceless. And just from the mental health perspective, physical health perspective, it just is, it covers all of those things. So that is
Mhm.
amazing. As far as the services that you provide, has anything changed or shifted because of COVID? I know a lot of times doing birth work, not
Yeah.
being able to support in the hospitals, or just all of the changes that have happened and having to make the pivot to be online and virtual because that's the world we live in now. How have you had
Yeah.
to adjust to this pandemic?
Hmm. It's an interesting question because I know so many doulas in my network who, like from my hometown, who have had to really kind of halt coming into hospitals sometimes, like just all kinds of things depending on the state. But for me, I've been virtual for about 2 years now.
Okay.
So not much has had to change, but I will
Mhm.
say that people's mindset has changed a lot. So, when it comes to like actually going into gyms and stuff like that, like a lot of people are like, I had to go online, to find a workout program because I didn't want to go into gyms, or I didn't feel safe, or I didn't feel comfortable,
Yeah.
or just I didn't want to wear a mask in the gym. So a lot of that has changed for sure, when it comes to, I think people's mindset about working out and
Mhm.
what's available to them when it comes to the online space versus the in-person space. It's become
Right.
more of an option for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah. How different is birth culture in Tanzania as opposed to the States?
So what I found is there are some things that are different, like as far as there's some things that are westernized or that seem normal to us, but there are a lot of there's a traditional look at pregnancy and birth that they still have that we kind of don't have anymore, especially in my generation in the States. And
Okay.
even in my mother's generation, grandmother's generation in the States.
Yeah.
To the point where like when I first got here, I was like, okay, I know that I'll need to kind of go to a clinic, even though I'm planning to have a home birth, just so that they can open up a medical record for me so that I can get the birth certificate for a baby.
Mhm.
And I went there, and the women were literally so friendly. They were like coming out to talk to me. They were like, they just wanted to kind of talk. Everybody's offering me a chair everywhere I go. I could be standing at the doorway to the store, the grocery store, and everybody standing up. Sit down, mama, sit down. And they would offer me a chair. And the women, the mamas, they would talk to me like, when we're pregnant here, we don't wear pants. We wear
Mhm.
skirts and dresses, and it just allows for, natural movement of the body. They talked to me about just multiple different things. And then after I had the baby, what I found was interesting was just that there was such a kind of communal celebration. People who saw me walk around pregnant, they were so happy to see me with the baby later. Like they were like, "Oh my God, congratulations! We're so happy. The baby's beautiful. Here's a gift." People who I didn't know or talked too much beforehand, they were like, "Congratulations! Here's a gift. The baby is beautiful." And when I went back to that same clinic after I had the baby to get his birth certificate set up, they were like, you had a home birth. And everybody came in. I mean, like 10 other women came in and just to stand around while we weighed the baby. And they were like, you had a home birth. You were so strong. God really blessed you. And an elder mama came out and she looked at me and she was like, God really blessed you. You're very, very strong. And, you know, you had this baby at home. Wow. And that really touched me. I was like no one, you know, the experience that I had in the States when I had to go in to get the birth certificate set up for my babies, they would be like, you had a home birth on purpose? Like,
Right.
why did you do that? Did you think girl at home? You know, like, why did you do that? Like, here, they're kind of in a place where their younger generation is moving towards hospitals. So they're kind of like in a different place in their birth journey. You know, their younger generation is moving towards hospitals. And so to see me have the baby at home, all of the elder mamas were like, that's how we do it. That like they were really proud. And I was just like, wow, that's cool. That was awesome. Really cool. And yeah, we had a lot of experiences like that, you know. So
is there any story that kind of exemplifies why it is that you do what you do?
I think mainly just seeing that one paragraph. That's why, you know, one story, I guess, like literally that was one main thing that was like, okay, we need something. But, you know, for women that I've worked with, I would say each story is just so unique. And I've worked with women who have experienced prolapse and women who have experienced vastus recti and women who have experienced, you know, postural changes and postural imbalances and just all kinds of things. And I can't really just pick one story, but I will say, like, you know, just the hundreds of stories that I've heard now, you know, from women who I've worked with and women who I haven't worked with yet, the hundreds of stories that I've heard now make it all, you know, worth getting up and doing the work that it takes to really reach hundreds of women to say, like, you know, there are options for you to be able to regain your core strength, to be able to regain your self-confidence, to be able to take your power back into your journey and continue working forward with, you know, with that strong goddess, big goddess energy. You know, you have that option. So I think it's every story.
Yeah. And like you said, to be able to see those results and see the change in the being, right? Like you come in one way and when you're done or a few weeks in, you just see the progression and like them blossoming or getting back to that level of confidence and who they are. So that's definitely powerful because it's empowering to empower others. So that's amazing. So how do people get in touch with you?
So you can email me. You can go to the site and just book a call. I love to chat. You can book a 15-minute call with me and we just kind of chat about, you know, your A to B, you know, where are you starting and where do you want to go? And, you know, I don't have it all on the first call. I really just want to chat with you, talk to you about, you know, where is it that you're at and what is it that you actually need to get to your goals. So that's the best way to reach me. Is just book a quick call. And then also you can reach me on any platform. You can reach me on Facebook at Ameera Madzimoyo. And you can also reach me on Instagram you can put in Ameera Madzimoyo or you can put in the Brazen Goddess. And yeah, these are the platforms that I'm on the most, I should say. So you can definitely reach me in any of those places.
Yes. And we will definitely have a link and all of your information in the description as far as so they can not even try to spell it. Just click right on it and get to you. Make it real simple for us. So that's excellent. Is there any tip or advice or anything you want to impart on anyone who's joining us this evening before we go?
Yes. I want to encourage you. My tip is just tap into your own energy, tap into the energy that you're given, you know, your creator given energy, because that's really what is going to push you forward when it comes to the days that are not easy, when it comes to the days where you've been up all night with your baby, when it comes to the days that you just you feel like you cannot take another step, you know, that's what's going to propel you forward. And when you tap in, what you give attention to grows. And, you know, what we really like, you know, really tap into, it flourishes. And so when we hone that energy and we nourish that energy and we, you know, take care of that energy that we have, when we let that energy grow so much that it overflows, that's what we can give out to other people. That's what we can, you know, that's what we can give from. Don't give from your cup. You know, tap into your creative giving energy so that it will grow to overflow. So that's the tip that I would have is, you know, give from your overflow.
Yes, 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 yes. And on that note, that is a perfect way to close out the conversation. Hopefully, this will be one of many. We would definitely love you back on the platform. Your energy is infectious and contagious. So I'm sure there is so much more to talk about and share. I would love to hear your birth stories.
Oh
And
yeah.
we appreciate you just making time to just drop some gems on the audience and let them know what's out there, because we don't know what we don't know.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And thank you for just having this platform. And I love everything that you're doing with the show and bringing on people's birth stories and just kind of changing different narratives about what we hear about birth and bringing fathers and, you know, just bringing together all of these different stories. I just love it so much. I saw your page, and when you reached out to me, I was just like, this is in alignment. I love that. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. So, and thank you all for joining us. We truly appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. If you know someone who can, you know, take away something positive from this conversation, share it with them. Bring them in to the conversation. We're here every Monday at 9:30. So definitely tap in and check out the website for Ameera, the Brazen Goddess. The links will be in the description. So peace and blessings, family. Thank you for joining us this evening.